All right, so I've heard a lot of people ask questions about how you can paint your pine cones. And I find that the colors are more bright and brilliant if you first paint them white. So I've gone ahead, I've already cut these pine cones. As you can see, there's just like the top of a pine cone there. Then we have a bottom piece of a pine cone here. And I just use a pair of loppers that you can see here to cut them. And I have, as you can see, a bucket full of cut pine cones. So first thing I do is I just found some latex flat sealing white paint here. Now I'm sure there's like tons of awesome better paints that you can use, but this was just what was in my basement, and it was left over from whoever owned the house before us, and I just want to use it for something and get rid of it. So this is what I'm doing. I'm going to use it. I try to recycle and reuse everything I can. It's a responsible thing to do, so this is what I'm using it for. So I take the pine cones you see here, and I just drop it in the paint. Now there's going to get like dirt and stuff in the paint because the pine cones always have like little, particles that come off of them and stuff. That's okay. It's nature. We don't care. So what we're going to do here is I just kind of toss it around a little bit so most of the pine cone gets drenched. And then I'm just going to shake off all the extra paint that I can to try to make it go as far as I can. So I'm shaking it off, shaking it off, shaking it off. Now I have a prepped drying rack here. You can see it's already been used quite a bit. And I have a tub underneath it that I have lined with plastic so it doesn't ruin the tub. And I have some of these little clamps that I used to clamp the plastic to the inside of the tub, and I'm using the clamps to lift up the screen a few inches above the plastic area. Kind of gives us just a little bit of room so that the paint has room to drip down and so it doesn't get stuck. All right, so it's back to the pine cone. It's dripped off pretty good now. Give it a few last couple shakes. Now I'm gonna, as quickly as I can, transfer it over to the screen. I'm just gonna put it over here on the edge. Now you can see I'm using I don't know what you call these things, but I know people use them for frying, like crab rangoons and stuff. You can use it to dip out the stuff out of the frying oil. But I find it works really good, and it washes up easily after you're done. So I'm not sure I really want to use it to cook with, but I'm sure you probably can if you wash it well enough. But I think I'll just have this dedicated for painting, and I'll have another one for cooking. So yeah, these things you can get them at like Walmart or whatever, any kind of big box store that sells kitchen supplies. I don't know how much they cost, but I'm sure they're not too expensive. But man, this works the best. I've tried a couple of different methods, and nothing works as well as this. So this is what I've been sticking to. So back to our pine cone. Now you can take a couple of them. Now this is a really nice pine cone. I love this design. It's the, I don't know. I'm not sure. I guess maybe the middle of the pine cone. But it has a really nice flower design. It's going to make a nice flower when I paint it up. All right, so I'm going to stick it here in the and I'm just going to use this to dunk it down, get it good and soaked. Take it out. Well, it looks like I've got some kind of string there or something. Sometimes these pine cones have these long, I'm not sure what they are, but they're like strings, and they stick out of the pine cone. I try to pull them off as well as I can, but sometimes, you know, one might get past me. Kind of like when you're shucking corn and there's trying to get all the little hairs off, but there's always a few that get by. All right, so we've got it pretty well shaken off. Now I'm gonna transfer it over to the screen. And that's how you do it, folks. We're gonna let them dry for probably at least 24 hours. At least I do. I don't want to put them together if they're even just a little bit wet, because then they'll probably all stick together, and I don't want that. So I'm gonna let them dry as long as they want, and till they're completely dry, and then I'm going to put them in some type of container ready for the next step, which is painting with color or possibly enameling them, because Christmas is coming up and white pine cones are quite popular with the winter colors. All right, you have a good day, and don't forget to like my content and subscribe so that you can see more. Thanks.